Let's talk a little bit more NFL draft. We are slowly approaching what is unfortunately a very exciting time to be a Cleveland Browns fan. And there's been some more rumors, interest, intrigue that has come out in terms of some prospect names taking top 30 visits, coming to talk to the Browns. The Browns were out in Colorado for what was their pro day. They couldn't call it a pro day because the Pac 12, not Pac 12, Big 12, they're in the Big 12, right?
Yep.
The Big 12, right? Or are they
Yeah.
the Pac 12? No, the Big 12. The Pac 12. What am I doing?
It's
They're in the
Pac-2
big.
now.
Yeah, no, it's the Pac 2. I know. I don't know what I'm doing. The Big 12 had their own pro day, and none of the Colorado people performed at it, so they could do their own thing. Regardless, Matt, let's get into. I have 7 options here. I want you to grade it, and this is going to be some situational grading, right? Obviously, there's 4 key names tied to the Browns at number 2, 3 other ones that I have included here as well. And this whole thing gets kicked off by someone who is coming to visit the Browns on a top 30 visit, one Mason Graham. And think of this as definitely the Browns trade back and decide to take Mason Graham. What would you rate this? Give me your grade, Ben.
If we were to trade back and get Mason Graham, I'd probably give it about a C plus. I think D tackle is definitely a hole, and he's definitely going to be a game wrecking playmaker. But I just think we have bigger holes that we need to address, and we can definitely fill with this draft.
Yeah, I'm with you. I was going to rank this super low because I'm very anti-trade back, especially with what our record was last year. Um, but I have to go C plus because I think Mason Graham is going to be a perennial Pro Bowler in the NFL. So trading back and getting him isn't going to be the end of the world. I would just rather stay put at 2 and get one of the top prospects in the draft. Speaking of the top prospects in the draft, we have one, Abdul Carter. Give me a grade.
I gave this one an A. He's been my pick since, we started talking the draft on this show. I think you pair him with Myles Garrett. That's a lethal edge duo. If we're sticking at 2, this is who I think we should take.
So, this is going to come as a bit of a surprise, but I'm going to go C plus for this one as well. And I'm going to tell you why. I have cooled very hard on the Abdul Carter train. Not that I don't think he's a good prospect, not that I think he could be a good prospect or a good player for the Cleveland Browns, but because I think there are multiple, 3 better options for the Cleveland Browns in terms of positional need, in terms of, I don't want to say talent, but mainly positional need and being on the side of the ball that was the absolute worst last year, and that is offense. Abdul Carter, I think, could be great. Abdul Carter feels like a very much luxury pick to me at this point in time for a team that does not have the right to make a luxury pick because the only quarterback on their roster is Kenny Pickett. And I'm not saying that just because I'm a quarterback guy, and I've made that very abundantly clear the last couple of weeks on the show, whether it be on Monday or Friday. I just think, I mean, we'll get into the other prospects, but I think out of the 4 prospects that could end up in the Cleveland Browns lap at number 2, he would be my last one I would pick, only because it's not a positional need. You have Myles Garrett. It's not like having a running mate with a all-pro perennial defensive player of the year end amounts to anything. We've seen these pair-ups happen before and not much come out of them. Are you shocked by my grade, Matt?
I'm not necessarily shocked. I kind of figured you were going to be lower. I am kind of surprised you gave him a C. I figured the lowest you would get with him is like a B, just because he looks like such a great player. But I understand where you're coming from, and I get the whole luxury pick idea. That makes sense 100%. I've just always been a fan of doubling down on what you're strong at to get elite.
You wouldn't say we're elite already, though, at edge? I mean, you have the best defender in football. I almost said baseball. I'm still
Which is
stuck on last
elite.
topic. What did you say?
Half of the edge is elite, but if we could make the other half also elite, you can't stop that. You're always going to have somebody one on one.
Maybe you're right. And if Abdul Carter comes here and is fantastic, I'm not going to complain at all. If I'm in the Andrew Berry seat, there's 3 other prospects on the board in my mind that I would rather take over him. But we'll table that for now, and we'll go on to the next prospect, which is one. Is it going to load? Ashton Genty from Boise State. What would you grade him and why?
So I'm kind of assuming this.
Yes, it's a trade back. That's why I said, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So obviously, we trade back. I've seen him mocked, and I don't know where you were thinking when you graded this, but like somewhere around like the 7 to 10 range.
Yeah.
So I just kind of imagine we trade back to 7 and, not diving too deep into like whatever the package would be and all that. I'd give it an A. I think, kind of the same thing, but on offense. You put Ashton Genty with Nick Chubb. Obviously, there's a lot of question marks with Nick Chubb, but
if he's even coming back, yeah, right.
Ideally, Nick Chubb. I'm living in that cloud of he's a Cleveland Brown until the day he retires, right. And I refuse to leave it until it's not the truth. Anyway, you pair them up. You have a very good combo. He can learn from him and then become the next dominant back for the next, 4 years, because that's all you get out of a running back in the NFL. Anywho, I would love the pick, though. I think he's an electric player.
So this one's hard for me because I am very, 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 very anti-trade back, as I said in the Mason Graham conversation. But I do think Ashton Genty is going to be a fantastic player in the NFL. And I think we are a team that is going to be run heavy and deserves a good running back. So I would have to... I'm going to leave it at a B, and the only reason it's getting dragged down in my mind is because of the fact that I don't want them to trade back. But if they traded back, had a good package, and got Genty, I'm not really going to complain too much. But again, it also feels like a luxury pick because, this running back class is so deep that you don't need the number one guy to still get a really damn good running back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's 4 or 5 backs in this class that I think could all end up winning Rookie of the Year, depending on where they go.
For sure. Next prospect, you ready to go? Or you got anything else on our man from Boise? All right, let's get after it. Cam Ward. What do you rank him and why?
I rank him somewhere in the middle of a B to a B minus, a B minus plus, if you will. I couldn't pick one between the two. I think he's, again, he's going to be good in the NFL. The reason he's, in that lower B range, though, is I don't know if his play style fits Cleveland's as well as another option in this class does. And I'm also not big on, the top quarterbacks this year myself. So I wouldn't want us to make this pick, but if the Cleveland front office thinks it's the right pick, I'm willing to trust them for at least a week or two.
So I rate this an A. He is widely regarded as the number one quarterback in this class, but I have my own hesitations, hence why it's not an A+ in my mind. The same ones that you do. Honestly, I'd go a little bit lower, but if he falls from 1 to 2 to us, that gives me a little bit more credit to rate him a little bit higher. I think Cam Ward has all the talent and then some to be a good, productive NFL quarterback, but he gives me some of the shakiness, some of the poor decision making that you kind of look back at Jameis Winston when he went out and was like, oh yeah, his career up to this point now makes sense. Not comparing him completely to Jameis Winston. Cam Ward has an elite arm. He has a lot of good traits. I just worry he doesn't fit the Cleveland Browns, like you said. So I give it an A, just because it is a position that I would prefer the Browns draft as high as possible. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with you on that pretty much 100%.
Next one, Campbell, LSU. Trade back, obviously, at this point. What do you rate it and why?
So this is another, mid, slightly lower B to me. Obviously, I like the idea of trading back. I've said that multiple times on the show. Me and Noah disagree about that wholeheartedly, and that's fine. I just think this is a little bit less so, but also a luxury pick if we were to do this. Our offensive line is not great anymore by any means, and it is old. But I like we've said multiple times, we have bigger holes we need to address. The offensive line is workable for now. It's, you can survive with what we have, you can win with what we have. It can get better, but just not right now.
Yeah, that's fair. Will Campbell, to me, it's tough. I give it like a C minus because I don't want them to trade back. I don't know if he's going to be a true tackle in the NFL. He's doing everything in his power to show that he can be a tackle in the NFL. And that's the main positional need for the Cleveland Browns in terms of the offensive line. But we also brought in Jenkins. We have we have Wyatt Teller. We have Joel Bitonio in terms of if this guy shakes out to be a guard. It gets to be a crowded room. Yes, he's younger than all of those names. So trading back and getting a guy that you don't know where he'll actually fit in the offensive line, to me, just gives D plus C minus because you should have just stayed at 2. Not saying I'm knocking Will as a prospect. I want to be abundantly clear when I say D plus C minus that I'm not knocking him as a prospect. I think he's going to have a great NFL career. I just don't know about his fit, and I don't know about trading back and then selecting him, what that really means. I also want to note real quick, aside from Genty, all of the prospects we're talking about have taken visits, workouts, dinners, etc. with the Cleveland Browns. So there is some validity to this aside from just here are the top 7 prospects, arguably. Let's talk about it. Matt, next prospect, heavily rumored to the Browns as of late, Travis Hunter. Give me a rating.
I think this one might shock you. I gave this one a D.
That's insane. Go ahead. Please tell me why. Tell me
I
so I can tell you why you're wrong.
I have been a Travis Hunter hater since day one. I will stand on that hill. I think he was a phenomenal college ball player that found success in a scheme that isn't going to translate that well to the NFL. And he stole the Heisman from Ashton Genty. Not that that matters in this segment. I just want to throw that out there. I don't see him translating to the NFL as well as everybody else seems to. I know I very well could be wrong on this one, but he's a mediocre corner and a mediocre receiver. Cleveland doesn't need either of those things.
That's insane to me. Give me 1 second. So I give this an A+. I think this is the number 1 pick for the Cleveland Browns at number 2, even though I am a hard Shedeur Sanders guy. And we'll talk a little bit more about my Hunter and Sanders and my hope for what the Browns do in the NFL drafts come Wednesday when me and Eric tackle that head on. But we'll look at the prospect of Travis Hunter. You say he's a scheme fit. That's funny to me because he's done it at the FCS level, he's done it at the FBS level, he's done it at the high school level in terms of not only being elite, he's not been average, he has been elite. We're talking 4 interceptions, 10 pass breakups, 33 tackles, 1 forced fumble as a corner. We're talking 96 receptions, 1,258 yards, 15 receiving touchdowns, 13 yards per reception last year as a Buffalo in Colorado. This guy has shown on multiple levels, wherever he goes, people have doubted him that he can play both ways. And he said, haha, that's funny. Let me do it and do it better than your best player because I can. I think this guy is a unicorn. We need to accept that he's a unicorn. I think he is a fantastic fit anywhere he goes. And I'm really excited and really hopeful to see him in the orange and brown because I think he hits not 1, but maybe 2 positional needs of corner and wide receiver, depending on how they break up those snaps. I am high on Travis Hunter. I've been high on Travis Hunter all season. I said he should win the Heisman instead of Genty. This has been something me and Matt have butted heads on off camera, obviously, because we haven't talked as much about college football here on the page. In terms of me and Matt, we did do the college pick'em earlier this year. I think Travis Hunter is a fantastic prospect. I think he makes sense a majority of places in the NFL. And I think he's going to be an elite, fruitful, fantastic NFL player. And you're wrong, Matt.
I mean, I truly hope that I am wrong and you are right, because that would be such an awesome, exciting thing to watch. And like, I'm not rooting for the kid to be bad. I really want him to be exactly what he's supposed to be. I just personally don't see it. And in my mind, I don't want Cleveland to take that risk. However, I do know that, I'm definitely in the minority with doubting him now at this point. It seems to be most everybody agrees he's going to be good. And I don't see it. But like I said, I hope I'm wrong. I want to see him dominate both sides of the ball for 10 years. That'd be awesome to watch. I just don't really think it's going to happen.
I think even if he doesn't, he is going to be an elite player one way for one team, where whoever he goes. And, I think of certain, positional needs for the Cleveland Browns, and it could go either way. Andrew Berry has called him a wide receiver in the media. I think he could be a fantastic wide receiver. I mean, the proof is in the pudding with the stats I just read you in terms of his senior year, and that's with a workload of playing cornerback as well. I'm just really excited to see him play regardless, because it's going to be a highlight reel on national television, even if he's not in the orange and brown. Matt, we could debate it. Let's get to our last prospect to talk about today, which is my only, Shedeur Sanders. What do you rate it? Give it a grade. And we're going to leave this at pick number 2. This is a pick number 2 grade.
So I graded him out as a B plus. I think he's the Cleveland Browns quarterback of this draft. If you're looking at one of the top guys, I think there's a few guys later in the draft that could be really good, but I think he's the best scheme fit for Cleveland in terms of quarterback, our biggest need. Obviously, we've talked about him before, so I don't want to dive too deep into it, but yeah, I think he'd be a good pick, and if we're going quarterback, he should be the one.
Yeah, that is my thought process as well. I don't think Cam Ward's really going to be there at 2. I think he is the perfect scheme fit in terms of the Cleveland Browns. I think I've sung Shedeur's praises multiple times here on the channel now. In a perfect world, in a magical world that we'll get into on Wednesday, so tune in then at 9 p.m. Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter are both Cleveland Browns, which is something that has been rumored around the streets of Cleveland. I give Shedeur, I'm going to say an A. I know I gave Cam an A too, but I give Shedeur an A. It's the biggest positional need for the Cleveland Browns. I think he's the best scheme fit, like you said. I think he is a natural leader. I think he knows how to face adversity. I think he is the most pro-ready at this moment, which isn't always a good thing, but I think in a Kevin Stefanski offense, he is going to shine and do wonders. There's multiple connections to Colorado. The current offensive coordinator's friends with Kevin Stefanski. Our quarterbacks coach is friends with Deion Sanders. There's a lot of under the table happenings that make sense there, as there is with Jalen Milroe and some other players in this draft. Don't get me wrong. I am high on Shedeur. I think if they think this is their guy, they shouldn't be cute. They should just take him at 2 and move on and go with it. And that's just my thought. My other thought is this is how the NFL draft's going to go for the Cleveland Browns. And that is a Colorado player, no matter what. A little draft day reference to wrap up the show for us. We will be, in fact, taking a Colorado player, no matter what. So, Matt, you can take Abdul Carter and follow him wherever he goes, but I don't think he will be a Cleveland Brown.
I absolutely love the draft day reference. For as horrible of a actual true to football movie it is a phenomenal movie to watch anyway.
I watch it every year the Wednesday before draft day. My girlfriend hates me for it because I make her watch it with me every single year. But yeah, we are all in on Shedeur over here, and we're all in on Colorado, in my opinion, in terms of the Cleveland Browns.